Hey, what's going on, Rockstars? Welcome to the channel. Tuesday, January 21st, 2025. I wanted to make a video I haven't made in a while. It's going to be 50 items that you should be looking for to sell on eBay. And I'm going to stay away from clothing items as much as possible. It's going to be a couple clothes and shoes because I think they're relevant. But most of this, hard goods, toys, electronics, things like that, that will sell for higher prices and usually higher sell-through rates is what we all want, right? So faster selling items, better prices. Majority of these are going to be 40, 50, and up. A lot of them will be $100 and up, and some of them will even be items that you can bundle and lot together to get those higher prices. So without further ado, just going to go over to my screen. I'll roll through all 50. We'll go quick. You can pause it, take notes, have a list for when you go to the thrift stores or estate sales, things of that nature. These are items you might not otherwise think of, but that we commonly see out in the wild when you thrift or go to those estate sales or even storage units and all those kind of places. So make a list, keep notes of these. And if you want more like these 50, I have an entire 2025 bundle down below with over 1,000 of them that you can pick up for 50% off. I'll link it down below. Let's jump to my computer and go through these 50 right now. All right, we're going to start with number one, which is Sony Handycams and digital cameras, like vintage ones from the Y2K era. You know, when we were teenagers and pointing digital cameras at everything. They sell really good. Look at these Handycams. I've got this on used, by the way. This is an HDR CX350V. Sold for $100. It has the box and everything, which is great. Here's one though that sold for $55 all in. So it's really great. I mean, you might find this at an estate sale for $5 or $10 because people think it's all antiquated technology, which it sort of is with our phones. But people love these and they'll pay $50, $60, $208 for this one with everything. Here's one that sold for $162 all in. You can see some of these prices on these Handycams are really great. And if you look up like 32 megapixel digital camera, you're going to find pretty similar selections when you go to used. You'll find some of these Canon PowerShots 209. So start learning these models like Kodak Pix Pros. They're $40, $50. Some of these PowerShots are definitely $100 cameras, and you'll start getting clues onto which ones to look for. I used to find them at pawn shops. They just throw them up there. They'd give somebody $5 or $10 at a pawn shop. They'd put them up for $20, $25, just trying to double their money. And I'd go in and buy like 5 of them for $20 a piece. It'd be $100, and I'd go home and list them all for $60, $80 a pop, and all of a sudden I'd have 4, 5, sometimes $600 worth of cameras. So always worth looking at vintage digital cameras and like Sony Handycams. Number two, like I said, we're going to go really quick on these, so just stick with me. Starter jackets. So starter jacket, rather. And you're going to get 12,000 results. Again, I'm doing this all on used, so I'm just going to select used for everything that we do. All of these vintage, like Miami Hurricane satin starter jacket, if they had known the year, would have been better. But look at this, $226 and change. Phoenix Sun, $75. You could possibly run across one of these at a Salvation Army or Goodwill, an outlet maybe, or somewhere that you could clean up. Ohio State just won, and I'm actually surprised this only sold for $68 today. I figure this would be like a $100 jacket. Here's a starter for Minnesota Vikings, sold for $78. But a lot of these are between $50 and $100. Some of them will be worth more depending, how rare. But expect between $50 and $100 for the majority of them. So if you're picking them up in the store, $5, $10, you're good to go. Also, along those same lines, we're going to do vintage hat and, of course, sports hats, snapbacks, truckers. Von Dutch is actually pretty popular right now, I think. $20 to $30 hats are very, very common. Here's a Hawaii Pro Bowl one. This one sold for a best offer at $56 plus 6 shipping. So $62, they probably got like, whatever, $40, $50 for this hat. Not bad. As you scroll down, Revenge of the Mummy hat, $41, universal hat. So anything with cool graphics, you see how the graphics are pretty cool on that. Always looking for that sort of thing. If it's more common, like just this plain chevron hat, they still got $16 for this thing, but you can see it's not worth quite as much. You're going to want to look for those vintage sports hats, vintage trucker hats. Disney does okay. $20 is pretty normal for stuff like that. And you can scroll down, and see a plain Jane Top Gun hat, not really going to be worth it. So be careful. Always look up the solds as with anything that you're selling on there. We're going to go to My Little Pony toys. So these are fantastic My Little Pony toys. Depending on how rare they are, you can lot these up. Here's a little, My Little Pony Love Wishes Glitter Sparkle Toy Pony from 2002. Little tiny toy, $15. So what's great about these is that some of these are worth $30, $40, $50 individually, or $15, $20. You buy them in a bag of toys at a yard sale for $10, and all of a sudden you have 20 of them you're listing. The other great thing, if you don't find these $30, $35 ones, you can lot them up $40, $53 on this little lot of tiny one. So you might have found this bag at a yard sale for, you know, $5. Somebody just selling the bag of ponies for $5 or $10, and all of a sudden it sells for $53. So there is your My Little Pony toys, good individually or in lots. So we're going to look at food, countertop appliances, and food processor things and parts. Cuisinart is a really big one. If you get the food processor, the parts can be worth some money. Obviously, it's probably the ones with the blades that you're going to look for, $66 as you scroll down. You can find this little work bowl actually sold for $43. Cuisinart is just one brand. There's all kinds of mixers. If you look at like countertop mixer, you'll find some of these parts that are, you know, like the bowls. You'll find these full-on KitchenAids. You'll find the mixers can be worth $30, $40 sometimes. Anything countertop appliance, absolutely look at it. Even if it's not working, it might be worth the parts. Maybe somebody says it's broken and they put it out at the yard sale for $5. You get it for $3 and you can sell the parts, you know, the good parts for $40, $50. So always something to keep an eye out for. Everybody knows that Dyson vacuums are really good. We're going to move on to Kirby vacuum. If you've never heard of them, they're old school. I think my mom had one when I was a kid. Kirby vacuums are very, very expensive, and the parts that go with them are just as expensive. So here's a vacuum parts and bag sold for $73 for some of the parts. These vacuums back in the day were $1,000, $2,000 vacuums. I want to say when I was a kid, my mom had one of those door-to-door salesmen come, and she bought it hook, line, and sinker, and she spent like $1,000 on a vacuum. My dad was pissed, but it ended up being a really good vacuum we kept for a lot of years. So I guess it was kind of a good investment considering I spent like $400 or $500 on my Dyson. But you can see some of the vintage ones. They're only worth, you know, they're not worth the shipping because it's going to cost you more than $50, $60. But if you can find the right models that are, you know, this one sold for $225, $230. This one would be worth shipping. This is one of those items you got to learn how to ship. You got to know what you're doing, but could be a $200, $300 item that you maybe pick up. You know, this 505 sold for $641 could be worth it if you pick it up at a yard sale, estate sale for $10, $20, you know, $30. Maybe they just want to get rid of the vacuum and you're the recipient of something that can sell for $200, and you learn how to pack and ship it for $30, $40, $50, and you get to make yourself $100. So here's just a, you know, a regular bag sold for $40, something you might find in an estate sale for $5. Who knows? This one's going to make my friend Jamie happy. He hates them, but he sells a lot of them. Typewriters. Of course, typewriters, hit or miss. So half the models are good, half the models are complete junk. Be very, very careful when you're searching for these, because model numbers can be off by one letter, one number. It can make the difference in $50 to $100. So here we have a 1981 IBM Selectric 3 typewriter, model 670X, sold for $173, right? You got even this gray Corona, 95 plus 23. So they got 118 and change. You know, here's the orange one. These orange ones are always good, $270. You can scroll down these and see these vintage. Here's somebody that did 29 plus 76 shipping. This is why eBay charges fees on shipping, guys. But as you go down, you know, you'll find some that are definitely not worth it, but you'll find some that are absolutely worth it. You know, this $57 Royal, maybe not worth it. The shipping on these typewriters, if they're heavy enough, it's going to average, if it's close by, $15, $20 if you're lucky. If it's going far away, it can be $30, $40 or more. Florida to California, it might be $40, $50 on one of these things. So make sure you're cognizant of that too when you're doing the shipping. So we talk about VCR DVD combos, but what about TV VCR combos? Those are ones I see in my Facebook group a lot. And so here's what we're talking about. This is a symphonic 13-inch color. Let me go down here and you can see it. See how it has a VHS built into it? So that is exactly what we're talking about. It's a TV with a VHS built into the bottom of it. It's all one piece. They generally will fetch over $100. This one sold for $110. Here's one that sold for over $200, $220 to be exact. Here's another $100 one. Here's a $180 one. So a lot of these, check the models, can be at least 100. Many of them 150 to 200. Here's 180. Here's 160. Here's a 300. So you get the head. If you see these, pick them up. They are gold. Gold, 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 gold. Next one is, again, a vintage electronic. This is a 100 disc CD changer. These are generally very heavy and very expensive to ship. So make sure you get the models that are worth 100 or more. Like this one, for example, is 128, 129. This one is about 80 some dollars. Now, if you spend 30, 40, ship it, and you spend 10 on fees and you're in 50 and you can get it for less than 5 or 10 bucks, you can make a few bucks, but they get returned, which is sort of a problem. I have heard of a lot of return issues. I've only sold one ever in my life, but I did have one that was worth 175. I paid 15 for it. So I was up 160 after fees and shipping. I made like $100. It did not get returned. But you can see a lot of them are worth 100, so you have to be careful. You want to try to get the ones that are over 100, like this one. You want to try to get, like this one's 140 to give you that extra 40, 50 bucks to cover that shipping. And make sure you test them, make sure you know what you're doing. That's a very sensitive item, but they can be good. So anything with the word vintage or with the word Bose on it is always good. If you see old vintage Bose stuff, you can get big money for them. So these are 2 pair of 201 speakers. They only sold for $50 all in, 50 bucks. But there are some of these that are worth huge money. And here's a good set, the 6.2 Everywheres. These are from 85, right? These sold for $280 some dollars. And it's Bose. It's just because their sound has always been good and it always will be good. Now, 2.2 series, see the difference? 85 bucks to 280 bucks. Here's some tulip speakers. These are super popular, the big tulip ones. They're over 300 bucks. Here's another $100 set. Here's an 800. So it's all about that model number, that age, and everything that you can find out about it when you are hunting them. Make sure you know what you're doing. All right, let's go to the next one. So watches, mid-level watches. You don't need to flip Rolex and Breitlings to make money on watches. So, did I type in Movado? I typed in Movado. Oops, Movado watches. You can search things like Invicta, Movado. You can do like Timex, any of these mid-level watches that are worth 100, 150 bucks. I used to see them at pawn shops for 25 and 30 and $40 all the time. And I'd be able to pick them up. Like this Movado museum leather strip. I've actually sold one of these a while back. It's in good shape. $140. I picked it up at a pawn shop for like $25, $30. Same with one of these chain link ones, these Swiss maids, $100 stainless steel one. Good. Pick it up for 20, 30 bucks and sell for 100. Some of these Movados are worth, more money. So I personally own Movado Bold, which is like blue and black. And if you search for Movado Bold blue, I own this watch right here. I think retail it was like 400 or 500 bucks. They still sell for almost $200, usually like 150 to 200. But if this was at a pawn shop for 50 or 60 bucks, or it was at an estate sale or yard sale for 50 bucks, be something worth picking up, right? So they have a lot of different ones, but they're almost always worth this 150, 160 up to 200. Here's another one, 109, 185, great shape. So, and I own this watch. Like I own this one right here. I don't know why it only searched for 109. It should be like 150, but really, these mid-level watches, like I said, you can even do Timex watch, and you don't have to sell the $1,000, $2,000 watches. You can sell the ones that are worth 100, 119, 110, 60, 79. You can make some good money on that. So keep an eye out for watches. Specialty shoes like Vibrams, right? Vibram shoes, if you put them in, they're like the finger shoes. Sometimes you'll hear them, like the Minimus. Some of these running shoes, like these 5-finger shoes right here, 66 plus 7, 73 with a best offer. These could be Goodwill outlet finds. These could be Goodwill Salvation Army $5, $10 fines that are worth $60, $70. There's another set, 57 for the Vibram 5-fingers. So they're really a good pickup if they're in good shape. Make sure you test them out, bend them back and forth. I mean, this one only sold for 37, but it's a woman's, kind of smaller, so they don't do quite as well. The men's will do much better. And as you scroll down, you'll find more and more of these New Balance, Minimus. Here again, Vibram 5-fingers, $38. They look like men's, but they're kind of a small size, 8.5 if they're men's. So, here's another one, $63. I own a pair of the Minimus, not these 5-fingers, and they were like 150 bucks brand new. So to sell these for 40, 50 bucks is not surprising. Just something to keep an eye out for on the shoe side with these. We covered remote controls till we're blue in the face, but Logitech remote controls are the best for the most part. Keep an eye out for them. They have dropped in price a lot recently. Whoops. If you go down and you do use, there's 3,700 of them that are sold. You got a lot of different models, but some of them. This Harmony Elite, this is a $75 remote, the NR0010, and it can go all the way down to like these small Ultimate R007s that are $70 remotes. You have to look the model up. Every model is different. Every model controls something different, but like this 650 infrared, that's a good $30, $40 remote all the time. Could be $1 at the thrift store. Could be $1 at a yard sale. Could be $5, right? These Logitechs without the screen. See the difference? No screen on it? $9.99. $10 it sold for. In fact, I sold that. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of these remotes that are absolutely worth $30, $40 and from Logitech, and a lot of them that are only worth a few dollars. So here's one right here that is worth $20. It's R007 without the screen. So there you go. Logitech remote controls, always something to look out for. Lego mini figurines. So minifigs are huge money. Some of these things can be $5, $10, and some of them that are super rare can be, and I'm going to sort this by used, and I'm going to sort it by the United States only because there's so many from overseas. Be careful, make sure they're, real. But as we scroll down, we can see like this Imperial Shock Trooper, $12, right? For a little tiny minifig. This little set of 3 sold for $19.50, right? Little set of Spacemen sold for $30, right? So these minifigs can be big money, and you can find them in a lot of Lego. Don't take them out of sets. They'll make sets worth less. But if you find them loose, look at this little Boba Fett, $33.50 for this guy, right? Tons of good stuff. Batman at $21, Joker at $17 with the bang gun. So many little minifigs. Look at this little, is this the Asajj Ventress minifig? Wow, almost $41 for that. Star Wars Clone Troopers, $25. You get the point. A lot of Star Wars going on the minifigs for sure. So here's another little toy that is interesting, you guys. Would not expect marbles. So a ton of these are going to be cheapos, dollars, right? Dollars. Look at this guy selling them for dollars. But look at this. Vintage marbles, UV, $35 for the set. As we continue to scroll down, we can see here's a Tiger Shark, 6.62 inches, $16, a Marble Central guy. There are some of these things that are worth $15, $20, and he's selling them. You can see the sales just rolling in. In fact, I kind of want to look at his stuff after we're done with this video. I do have a bunch of marbles I should be selling. So you can see, here's a $35, $39 marble. Really good job displaying them. Here's a Pokemon glass set of marbles. A lot of 7. Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Missing 2. Still got $35. So bucket of marbles. Great little vintage toy. I love marbles. I think they're great. Let's continue on. So roller skates. Roller skates are big money for the right ones. Look at this. $80. First one I found. Let's go to pre-owned. 3,000 pairs. Most of them are going to be in that $50 to $60 range, as you can see here, right? We do see, 46, we see 35, we see some cheapo ones, we see some 50s, pace setters, we see some $69, $70 ones here. I've seen people sell them. I had a client in fulfillment center selling skates for $80 and $100. So definitely, here's a good pair, 128. They're Rydell, they're speed skates, it looks like. Shore grips, these are good ones, $72, $73. So always keep an eye out. Also, roller skating parts are another one that is pretty good. Okay, let's move on from the roller skates to pipe wrenches. Tools for plumbers do tend to do well, right? So 10-inch pipe wrench, 20, 39. It's just specialty tools. Look at this 3 Rigid. Like Rigid and all the brands. Rigid is a big brand, right? Like expensive brand. Rigid, Husky is more of the cheaper side. So you'll see that, right? As you come down and you see all these Rigid tools, you can see the vintage one even selling for $36. So pipe wrenches, specialty tools, always something to keep an eye out for. Here's that 36-inch steel pipe. This is a rare one. It's full size, $141.16. Holy crap. Keep an eye out for those. Fiesta Weare and Corningware. So Fiesta Weare, I think everybody who's at least 40 in my chat, 30, 40 years old knows what it is. It was popular, before my time. So I'll be 40, so I'm not making fun of your age, just saying it was popular back then. A lot of this stuff can be in the 30, 40, 50 range, and it's pretty common. The other one everyone sees is Corningware. Oops, it's 2 words, Corningware. And you guys will see people using, these dishes right here. $84 for a casserole, right? $80 casserole dish. Jesus. Something to keep an eye out for. Love it. Turquoise Jewelry. Got to make sure it's real. But Native American turquoise jewelry, big sellers. A lot of my fans, a lot of my longtime viewers, several of you, quite a few of you actually sell this jewelry. I see it all the time in your stores. Very, very good. I mean, look at this, $880. But even something simple like this 1930s silver turquoise bracelet, $139.99. Little set of raindrop shadow ring right there. Little dual, turquoise piece, $58, right? Good thing if you can find it and somebody's getting rid of it reasonably cheap. We'll keep moving on to the fishing reels that I absolutely think are great sellers. People do really well on these. Quite a few of you sell that as well. Not a fishing guy, but I see how much they are worth. $200 on this, right? $200 on this. Almost $100 on this one. $92, right? Fishing reels, vintage, new age, high tech, bait casting, oversized. Anytime you see a fishing reel, look up the model number of it. And to go along with that, fish finders. GPSs in cars are outdated, but fish finders in boats are super expensive. And you can see if I go to the used, you can see how much some of these fish finders can go for. And these might be pawn shop devices as well. Some of these things are hugely expensive, $500, $600, $100. They were $1,000 brand new. So keep an eye out for fish finders. That goes along with our fishing reels. Radar detectors in cars are not outdated. They are absolutely very good. We're looking for Cobra. Cobra's a really good brand. It's the one that I use. Uniden has some. They're cheaper. Escort has some expensive ones if they're the Max radars. These ones are great, $200-300. Unidens are generally on the cheaper side as well as the Escorts. They're like Escort's like mid-range, but Cobra's usually the higher end one. The Passports are more popular. I think they were sold at Walmart and Target, but they'll do well if they're an Escort Passport. The Cobras that I use, I think I paid like $200 for it brand new. They're probably worth like $100 used. So these X50 8500s, these Cobra Raid 480Is, all kinds of model numbers. Look them up. They're worth a lot. And then you get into like the radar laser detectors, and they can be in the $400 or $500 range. So definitely a winner there. So pocket knives. Interestingly enough, I don't sell these. I don't know anything about them. But I do know with the designs and the different intricacies on them, they are valuable. Everything from a basic knife being $5-10 up to something like this being $112. Swiss Army knives being $50-60 for vintage ones. You can go down the list here and see the better the design, the better the intricacy, the vintageness of it, the brand name. It all matters, but there's some of these that are worth big, big money. Keep an eye out, and don't be afraid to sell them because they are perfectly okay to sell. Game Boy games, old school Game Boy games, $20 for something Land Before Time, right? Dr. Mario, $14, cartridge only. There can be tons of games. Pokemon, $50, right? Pokemon Ruby Vision, $82. Make sure they're real. They're heavily fake. This is the one to be careful of. 1989 Tetris sold for $28 all in. Here's a lot of Game Boy Advance, Kim Possible, and Unfabulous, sold for $24. Maybe I should get back into Game Boy games. Good grief. Here's another one, Fire Emblem, the Sacred Stones, $54. This is a game. Somebody sold a lot of 30 of them, not working, $64. That's crazy. So pay attention to Game Boy games. All right, let's move into, go back to some clothing shoe things. Red Wing boots and Doc Martens. Red Wings are super valuable. They hold their own. They hold up really well. They're great work boots. They're great anytime boots. And they're always going to be worth used. 50, 60, and up over 100. Some of them as much as 200. That's for vintage though. If you look at the common ones, you're looking in the $100 range, $150 range for a lot of them. So pay attention for Red Wings. Make sure they are real. They're very easy to tell. Next one is sunglass frames. They don't have to be the entire sunglasses. So Oakley frames. I've actually bought a pair of Oakley frames. This is a pair of glasses I own. You guys have seen them in my videos. I own them with blue. This is the frames only, $46. So to buy this pair of sunglasses at like Sunglass Hut, they're like $150, $200, right? If you were to break the frames for any reason, you can save the actual lenses and then just pop them back into these frames. They're interchangeable. So I would definitely, if I snap my frames, I would go pay $46. So really good idea. Oakley, Ray-Ban, brands that obviously. Excuse me. Crocs shoes. People give me a hard time about these. Crocs shoes always sell well. They don't sell incredibly well, but they sell well. And certain special edition ones will sell, obviously better. Look, Here's the Bembury X Crocs. I don't know what these special editions are. I just know there's certain special editions. Look at this. Crocs with Lightning McQueen sold for $45, right? So Crocs, one that I'll skip quickly because I don't know a ton about them, but yeah, license plates, vintage, I know more about these. The older, the better. Porcelain, amazing. Rare, if you don't, from states that are rare, from years that are rare, from cars that are rare. Sets of them can do well. These can be picked up at yard sales and flea markets for $1, $2, $3 sometimes, and then sold. So here's one of those vintage 1966 license plates. These have been restored. They sold them for $107.77. They're from 1966. So set of two. So $53 a piece. You got some of these vanity ones that can do well. Harley Davidson even sold for $15-16. So not bad. Here's an old school 35 California one. They only got $31 because it's in rough shape. But if this had been in good shape, they would have gotten at least $40, $50, $60 for this thing. So here you go. Here's a 1972 pair of New Yorks that they did get $67 for. So keep an eye out for all of the license plates. Love them. Absolutely love them. Used to sell a few. They're in quite a few of my videos. Goosebump books. These ones, you guys, I grew up with them. You guys know it. So let's just look for Goosebump book. And do I have to put Goosebumps? I guess I got to put Goosebumps, right? Goosebumps? Nope. Let's just do Goosebumps book. Should pop up. Oh, because I selected a category. That's why. Oops. Let's try that again. Here we go. Bam. So then we got to come down here and select sold again. Individually, they're $5-10 for the majority of them. $5-10, $10. There's a couple that are going to be $15-20. They give yourself Goosebumps, pretty good, $10. But when you get them in a set, look at this, a lot of 6, $45, right? Let's keep going. Here's a lot of 13 sold for $21-22. Not bad, right? Not too bad. But you can see individually, they're not too terribly good. They're only a couple dollars. So the idea is you're going to find them for 50 cents or $1 a piece. You're going to lot them up and you're going to try to get, a couple bucks. You're going to try to get, $59, $60, $70. You're going to try to buy the lot from a yard sale for $10 and then flip it for 40 or 50. So pay attention to what they're going for per. Here's 11. A set of 11 went for $58. So that's like $5 and change a piece. You'd want to buy the set for like $20. So there you go. There's $100 book 62 Monster Blood 4, the first edition in cards. I don't know how that sell for $100, but that's pretty crazy. Here's $56 for box sets. It's a good item. It's a good item to keep an eye out for if you get them cheap. Sticking with the books, we're going to do a car repair manual. I've sold quite a few of these as well. Depends on the car. Obviously, the rarer the car, the older the car. Some of these are worth $10. Some of these are worth $110. The rarer the car, like I've seen some Porsche ones sell pretty high. I've seen some Jaguar ones. Let's go ahead and select used, and let's select the US because I'm picking up some of these out of country ones. And if we scroll down, we will see, I'm pretty sure, here's a regular Nissan Sentra 200SX, right? It's only sold for $10, right? Not really great. Here's a MG 15-1600 twin cam, $18, right? But if you sort this by highest price, and you choose manuals, right here, you can see some of these rare manuals, right? Lincoln Town Car wiring, Volkswagen, 2000 Lincoln shop manuals. Here's a 41 Chevy original shop manual, $76. As you scroll down, you'll start seeing 97 Ford Lincoln Town Car. It looks like Lincoln Town Cars for some reason do well. Pretty interesting little tidbit there to know that the Lincoln Town Cars actually do decently well. Fantasy books like Magic the Gathering books. So, oops, I didn't type the full thing. These do well just like the Goosebumps books do. They do better in lots. $97 for the Ice Age Cycle books 1 through 3 first prints. I owned those at one point in time. I sold them a long time ago. Individually, these books are probably in the range of about $8 to $12 for the most of them. Here's an encyclopedia that sold for $30. But if you look and we actually choose, let me see if we can do it. I don't know if it's going to let me. Brand new, very good. But you can see most of them are like $10. There's a couple, like this Wrath and Storm one is a pretty good book. I've read this one by Peter Archer, $17, $18. But then when you put them all together, this one fetched, $67. So that's where you can start, lotting up $10, $15 books into huge lots, and they'll sell and people will buy them all. So Something else to keep track of. Here's the Masquerade Cycle. This is 3 books, Prophecy, Nemesis, and Mercadian Masks. This was a $40. So this is, $13 a book. That's about right. So there you go. All right, let's go back to our search, and we can look up graphing calculators. And we're getting down to the end, guys, so thanks for sticking around. Make sure you are bookmarking this. Make sure you're pausing it, screenshotting it, whatever you need to do. Graphing calculators, TI-84s, TI-86s, Inspire CXs. They're all in the 40, 50, and up ranges. Check the models. The cheapest one is going to be probably this 83 Plus. They're probably about $25 to $30. And then you've got the TI-84 Plus, which will fetch about $35 to $45, depending. If you go to Amazon, you can get more for it, about 50 plus. And then you've got, if we do our used, and of course, remember to select used if you're selling it used, you've got like some clear ones, some silver editions, you've got some plum editions, purple right here, that's $80. That's the 84 Plus CE. All different models. Again, the 83 Plus is your cheapest, going to be $25, $30 for most of them. The 84s and the 89s are going to go up into that 40, 50, 60 range. So keep an eye out for them anywhere you go. Sports jerseys. Next is sports jerseys on the list. NFL jerseys, NHL. We all know about these. I don't think I got to cover these much. I just wanted to point them out because people pass on them a lot. I'll move on to the next one. Like I said, I'm going to stick away from clothes as much as possible. But motorcycle jackets, fantastic as well. And they are, motorcycle jacket. Oops, let's go to the original search here. That way we get all of our results. There we go. 490,000 of them. Only 240,000 used ones. And then when we go to solds, so out of 240,000 plus 44, so 280,000, 44 were listed. It's about a 20% sell-through rate. Not terrible. People tend to overprice these quite a bit. So when you look at like motorcycle jackets, Harley jackets, Ducati, big brand, keep an eye out for Ducati. That's a super sports, performance bike, definitely worth a lot of money. Harley, of course, worth money. Vintage, All Saints. Here's another Ducati, $200 plus. If you find those, absolutely good. Cowboy and cowgirl boots. I see these all the time, all day long in our Facebook groups. They can be anywhere from $25 to $250 to $2,500. Check the brands, check the material. Lucchese, that's a brand you should bolo right there. They're usually handmade, custom. They're super nice. They're usually in the 500 to 5,000 range when they're custom made, and they resell on the used market anywhere from the mid hundreds up to 200 and 300 easily. So, Area is another one that you'll find. Justin Boots is one that you'll find do pretty well. Again, there's Lucchese. They're almost always in the mid 100 to 200 up to 400 or 500 on the used market. So Lucchese, a great brand to find. If they're really, really custom, they can go for even more. Tony Lama does okay. They're usually close to 100. You'll get 70, 80, 90, 100 for them. And then, of course, Justin, like I mentioned a minute ago, there's a pair of Justins that went for $55. So remember, they're heavy to ship, and they weigh a lot, and they cost a lot. Snow pants, snow gear, snowmobile stuff, overalls, Canada Goose, snow skiing pants, snowboarding pants. They're expensive to buy brand new. Arctic X is kind of cheap. I mean, you can see brand new, but if you go to used, you can see some of these brands. Mustang Survival, Under Armour, cheap, right? Mountain Hardwear. North Face is going to be one if you find North Face, right? Zero Exposure. Patagonia can be expensive. If it's North Face or Patagonia, only sell used. Do not sell brand new. Don't ask me why. I've done videos about it. Costume jewelry, as we get down to the end of this list here. We are almost done. Got a few more. Costume jewelry, tons of pieces. People love to buy these in lots. People love to buy bins of these or buckets or jars, separate them out, start selling them. Here's a great vintage Art Deco costume jewelry ring. Somebody sold for $30. They might have gotten a Ziploc bag at a yard sale for $5. So costume jewelry, always keep an eye out for. The next one, controversial. Don't get mad at me. I don't care what you think. I don't care who you voted for. Donald Trump ties. He's obviously president again. His ties are going to sell for a lot. They're going to sell fast. People are going to want them. And they're almost always over $20. A lot of them in the right, decor like this, $66 plus $9, $75 tie. Here's another $45 tie. Here's a set of 4 plain Jane ones that fetched $28, $29. You're always going to be able to get $20 for them. You should be targeting 30 plus on most of them. Sometimes $35, $40 just really, really depends on the tie and the color and the style and all that stuff and the condition. But at least 20 is what I always go for. 30 to 40 for sure is what you should be targeting for most of them. $19.99 if you slap that on almost any Donald Trump tie, free shipping. Buy it now, no best offer. It will almost always sell. Again, keep the politics out of it and you'll make money. JanSport backpacks. These are great, right? I see people at thrift stores and flea markets using these actually. So if you go in and you do used, especially the pre-owned vintage ones, $40, $50. A lot of 30, 40s, a lot of 60s. They're going to average around $40 for the majority of them. If they've got that leather on the bottom, they're good. The vinyl ones, probably only 25, 30, but you know, certain ones can be 33, 40, 40 bucks. So JanSport, we remember those. Lisa Frank items. Just watched her documentary. Apparently she is not the nicest person, but her stuff still sells vintage, especially since the documentary come out. If it's brand new and you find it, get it. If it's used, you can still sell it. Check the prices. Lisa Frank, we all remember her, right? All the dolphins and the unicorns and rainbows. Yeah. So Victoria's Secret and other brands, they're called OOPs. Whoops. They're called OOPs. And they're out of print. So if you do out of, I haven't searched for these in a while, so bear with me here. Out of print, they're not doing it. So sometimes they say Victoria's Secret discontinued was a good search result. Yeah, so discontinued is what you should search for. That's a lot of them. And you'll see some of these ones, new and used sometimes. Even though some people say you can't sell it used now, I think you have to sell it as collectible. Somebody chime in with me. Not my market, and it must be because there's only 75. So it must only be brand new. They must have really clamped down on that because I knew some people that sold them half empty, half full. Not just the perfumes, but also the body washes. So keep an eye out for people maybe selling them at a yard sale. You know, full bottles. Make sure they're brand new and not, you know, open because apparently you can't. Weights. So weights are a tough thing to sell because you have to learn shipping, but I just wanted to tell you guys, like the shake weights, these 2 5-pound weights, this is a 10-pound box, right? They sold it for $13. Don't even know how they did that. They probably lost money. But there's some weights that sell that are like, you know, a 10-pound, you know, weight, and somebody will sell it. You know, here's a rare 5-pound shake weight, $30. So that's good. You can mail a 5-pound if you can fit in a little priority, you know, for $10, $15 at most, and you can make a few dollars on it, right? Here's some 5-pound dumbbells, $65. So some of these are okay. Very careful with this because of the shipping, or you're going to lose some money. Windbreaker pants. You remember those in the 90s, right? Windbreaker suits, windbreaker pants, great vintage 90s Adidas. They can be 30, 40, 50 on up for the windbreaker tops and the pants. So keep an eye out for the vintage ones of those. We're going to move on to Hoke Shoes. Hoke Shoes are really, really hot right now. They sell really good. People are all over them. Pre-owned, new. We can go to the US only. You know, 23,000 have sold in the last 90 days. 40s and 50s, 60s and 70s all day long on these Hokas. Bright colors do well. The running shoes, certain models, the Challenger ATRs are $40. We own a couple pair of those that we are selling. Samsonite luggage and briefcases. I'm going to show you guys the briefcases first of all. I think they're super cool. They're definitely 40s, 50s, leather ones. Flap overs, $130, right? Some of them can only be 40, 80. Check the model numbers. They do have some model numbers in business cases, but some of these things can be a rare find that you know, pluck out of a yard sale for $10 and it's a $100 briefcase. The point of this video is to get you thinking about other items that are normally not in your wheelhouse. So, promotional bar items. So if you type in the word Grey Goose, which is a vodka thing, look at this caddy with napkin straw holder, right? $89.99. Look at these Grey Goose martini glasses. They're detached, right? Look at this Grey Goose mountain golf bag. $55, not bad. A hat, anything barware related. Look at this little rubber bar spill mat, $21. Another one, $20. Some more Grey Goose stuff. So anything like Ciroc, Grey Goose, known brands will sell pretty well, right? Like, so people love decorating their bars. I do. Here's some Grey Goose lowball rocks glasses that sold for $54. So pretty good idea with the barware. I love it. So multimeters, electrical testers, Fluke, especially this brand Fluke is really, really expensive. They sell in the 50s to hundreds up to 200 for a lot of them. But multimeters in general, you just type in multimeter, like digital multimeter. Even if it's not Fluke, like Milwaukee makes them, a lot of them, you know, can still sell for $50, $60. And then you can go obviously and sort it by used. And you'll see like UEI, this one's only sold for 25. The field piece ones are good, 75 bucks. Fluke is always going to be the champ on these. Snap-ons do well too. $200 on this one, so well done on that one. We're going into our last three. The golf clubs. Golf club driver, golf club putters, golf club, pretty much anything golf club. Especially if you're in California, Arizona. Texas is a good one. Florida, anything in the South where we get them all the time, all year round. People play golf. Some of these golf clubs can be $30. Some of them can be $300. Make sure you get the right FedEx golf club boxes. You can ship them ground advantage. You can ship them USPS, but FedEx actually makes boxes for these. You can buy the boxes and then ship them however you want. Super popular. Everybody loves them. It's up and coming sport. Pickleball paddles. Now look at these things used. I had no idea that there was a $330 pickleball paddle, right? $200. These things are apparently super expensive. You can obviously buy sets really cheap for beginners and newbies, but some of these advanced pickleball paddles are nuts. People are selling them for hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So if you come across, it's not a ping pong paddle, it's a pickleball paddle. And number 50 is going to be billiard balls and accessories. So we just bought a pool table. We got one for Christmas, ping pong pool table combo that I redid my entire self actually. And some of these balls can be worth a lot. Like look at this Green Bay Packer Broncos balls, $217, super rare. Now, careful, because if they're worth 30 bucks or 28 bucks, they're going to be heavy to ship. These things are not light, right? Like when you put a set of 15 balls plus the cue ball, 16 balls, they're expensive. Even if they're a couple ounces each, you're talking about 4 or 5 pounds, 6 pounds in a box. They're going to be expensive. Vintage, definitely worth more. If you look up billiard cues and we go to used cue sticks. Cue sticks can be super expensive too for the right ones. Check for the brands. There's so many different brands I won't even go over, but if they've got cool designs, if they've got, they look quality, like this Budweiser one sold for $70, keep an eye out for them. And that's number 50 is billiard cues, pool table, billiard balls, accessories for anything in a game room is always expensive. All right, hopefully you guys enjoyed those 50. I'll try to make more of these like once a month with 25s or 50s or items that you should be looking for that we don't otherwise think about or might not come to mind right away. And again, I'll try to just keep a couple of clothes and shoes and really stay away from those because I think everybody knows brands of clothing and shoes and what to look for. For the most part, there are some unique ones and unusual ones that I can toss in like I did in this video. If you did enjoy it, please give me a thumbs up. Like the video. It helps the algorithm, helps other people find it, and subscribe. Come back, watch future videos, and there's a ton of other videos that you can watch. And don't forget that bundle is down below for 50% off. Not only do you get over 1,000 bolos and high sell-through rate items, you get all of my training videos for not just eBay, but Amazon, Poshmark, Shopify, YouTube, social media. You get everything I've ever created. It's all a part of that bundle, 50% off. Use the link down below. With that discount code, you'll see it in the description box and in my pinned comment. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you next time.